So always try to be in front.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, hey, my name's Will. I started a company called EconOdome Kits. The EconOdome is just what the word is. It's econo. And what I found is there was a real need for low-cost housing. And so what I did is I figured out how to take triangles out of a dome and put in flat surfaces for conventional doors and windows so that domes would be easier to build. What's happening, and what's been happening with a lot of dome designs, is that you have to take out triangles, and that compromises the structure of the dome, and then it also complicates the foundation. EconOdomes only have 10 equal sides. So we started with a 20-sided dome, and what I did is to take out 10 triangles. Well, actually what I did is I took out 3 triangles in each of 10 places, and I ended up with what we call a vertical trapezoid. This is viewed from the outside. So this used to be one triangle that pointed down like this, and there was another triangle that pointed up, went to this point. Another triangle went to that point. I took out all 3 of those triangles in 10 identical places around the dome and put in this. And then I was able to put windows in it, but that window's kind of low, you see that? So what we did is we wanted to make more room in the dome, so we lift the whole dome up with what we call a riser wall. This is a riser wall. You see this frame here? That's for a window. When we cut this out on both sides, then we put in a support on both sides of the window, and it ties the riser wall to the trapezoid. That can go up on top and then match up with that. Now this might not match in this particular one, but what you normally will do is that's a E9 and E1. We've got each of the sides numbered 1 through 10. That happens to be an E9. But you can get the idea. What we do is we frame squares in the riser wall, and then we put diagonal bracing in here. Now while you're looking at this, I'm going to go get one of the corner posts, and you can just show these from different angles, and I'll be right back. This thing I got on my shoulder here is called a rip-to-fit corner post. This is a 4x6. And what I've done is to bevel all 4 edges. This corner here fits to the outside of the dome, and this side here goes to the inside of the dome. And what we do is to, after that wall is standing and there's another wall next to it, we put this corner post in here, and then we screw to it so that these riser walls are joined with the corner post. So there's one that'll go on each side of this. There'll be another one over here. See? It goes like that. So that this straight line on this outside corner will be right flush with that. So when you put screws in from this direction over here, and then you have another wall that's like this wall, you can screw it in from the other side. So the corners are real solid. It's like post and beam construction. You don't have to put any plywood on an EconOdome because it's already braced. Every facet, every flat surface on the dome has triangles inside of it so that it can't shift. So you can put the plywood on it, and some places, your building people might want you to put plywood on it, but you don't have to. So if you want to build your dome your way and build it as economical as possible, you don't have to use plywood on the outside of the dome. If you use plywood, you've got to be concerned that the plywood could rot out behind the sheathing. We Often we'll put 2 inches of insulation or 3 inches of insulation or even 4 inches of insulation like we've done up in the Arctic Circle region, so that there's no frosting inside the building, behind the walls. So anyway, these are what are used. I want to tell you a little bit more about these trapezoids here. There's holes that are drilled in these trapezoids, and we run 3 wires in each hole, lengthwise like this, and it goes around the whole dome. And then what we do is we run 3 wires in one hole and 3 wires in the other hole, and then we twist them together. And then we put a bolt up into the frame here so that those wires stay twisted. It makes like a twisted, permanently tensioned cable. So those holes all line up all the way around the whole dome. And there are even ones that are in the blocking that goes within the triangles so that everything lines up. These are screws in here that are already in there. It could show you how you can attach this. There's other things about these trapezoids that might not be obvious right at first. Now we're looking here at this is the outside. Everything has black letters on the outside of the dome. But if you want to make it a little bit easier to put your dome together, we got red letters on the inside. The red letters, we have 2 different diagrams, a black letter one for if you're looking at it from the outside, and a red letter diagram to put it from the inside, because it just makes it a little bit easier if you got different ways of putting it together. This trapezoid goes right between the triangles, and so we have to make a lot of different angle cuts. Where this board meets this board, we have to change this. This can't be like all the other D1 struts. So we call it a D1Z strut. That means Z stands for zoid, from trapezoid. So what we do is we alter these angles so that we can integrate these flat surfaces into the dome. The dome did have 160 triangles on the hemisphere, and when we're done it has 10 vertical trapezoids and 130 triangles. This blocking in here is where a 2x6 wall comes in that's going to be used for a plumbing wall that's between the bathroom and the laundry room in this particular house. We make the headers a little bit differently, and here from the inside you can see the header. We have a board flush to the outside so that you can put more insulation in from the inside. Because after the dome, you might want to insulate the dome on the outside of the frame, but you can also insulate inside the frame, and so you can get as much insulation in there as you want. But anyway, let's just say you put insulation on the outside of the frame, you can put more insulation inside. You don't have to worry about capturing the plywood or the sheathing or the OSB between it, because the plywood and the sheathing doesn't necessarily have to be there, because this building is going to be so strong. After it's screwed together, it's strapped with metal straps, and then also it's put together with that cable that we talked about. So you start out by putting up these 10 riser walls and bolting it down to your foundation. It's got treated wood on the bottom. All the screws are stainless steel screws, so it doesn't bother that it goes into the new treated wood. There's no corrosion because we use all stainless steel connectors. And then after you put the riser wall up and then you set the trapezoids on top of it, the dome is going to be about 10 foot tall. This is a 38.5 foot dome. All the 10 sides are just a little bit under 12 feet. Anyway, it goes up about 10 feet. After you're there, up 10 feet high, all the rest of the boards on the entire dome go up one board at a time, so you can easily and safely handle the boards. Buckminster Fuller thought that it was really cool that everything in building a dome would be human in scale. Well, humans can't handle big, heavy objects way up high. It's just not safe. So the EconOdome is all designed around DIY kind of people who aren't afraid of climbing up on a ladder, putting their own dome together. And sometimes, like when you're putting the frame together, you might need some scaffolding for a larger dome. The smaller domes, we'll build them on 10 walls, build the floor, and put the whole dome together with just a 12-foot ladder with no scaffolding required, like a 30-foot dome. So if you're after a very economical dome, it would be the one just a little bit smaller than this, a 30-foot dome, with 10 sides down below and once again, each of the corners would be made with a post that's ripped like that. And we can make these riser walls for you. And if it's a 5-foot one or shorter, we can put it all together for you. But if it's a 9-foot wall, we got to make sure that it'll fit in the truck. Sometimes with bigger riser walls, we package up each wall individually and let you put them together on site. But because it all goes together with a diagram and it has these diagonals that square the wall, as long as you put it together by the diagram, just like the dome itself, everything should fit and it should square itself. And once you put a triangle together, it can't shift. But if you put a board inside of a rectangular shape, it can't shift either. It's called post and beam construction. It's an old-time construction. It's what people did before we had plywood. So now you know about the riser wall, and over here the trapezoids. That's the trapezoid, and we call it a trapezoid because
it's a trapezoid.
It's a trapezoid. By definition, it has two parallel sides, and one's normally longer than the other one, and then the other two sides are what they are. So
all right. That's it?
Yeah, one person can handle these trapezoids, by the way, because you can just tilt it and slide it. So one person can do it. I'm like 67 years old. I can still do it. So if you're about 20 or 30, you ought to get building a dome and using some of your physical ability while you still got it. And using it, helps you. Okay, that's about it for today.
Okay, all right. 2012.
Oh yeah, the date. Yeah, this is July of 2012. The hottest summer we ever had. It's going to get hotter and hotter on this planet. So you might need an energy efficient dome to live in so you can be cool.
A cool place.
Yeah, you want to be cool.
All right.